Okay, it looks like we're live. I am here today with Dr. Mark T. Wade, and we're lucky to have you because I know you're A, busy, B, you've got something really cool and new that is actually the reason I snagged you for this interview that we're going to talk about, and C, I think you're sort of you're kind of in demand.
I appreciate that. You know, I love chatting with you. We always have some fun intellectual and comical conversations. So this will be good.
Yeah, man. Let's start with the standard sort of who are you and what do you do, just so we can get people knowing what's happening here.
Absolutely. And we'll keep this part short, but I'm a postural neurologist by trade, which everybody's like, kind of like, what? Postural neurologist by trade, 2 doctorates, 30 some certifications in neurology, neuroscience, etc. Turned online marketer, if you will. I had one of the most successful posture correction clinics in the country, decided to expand that to help more people. And I started an online institute. And just like most people when getting started, I kind of thought that it would just blow up. Like I had some success over there. I thought that would be successful, right? And it didn't, you know. For about a year, I struggled pretty hard to get that business off the ground. And I also struggled, we just throw a little mindset in there. I also struggled with like, am I crazy? You know, like a lot of us get told, you know, our idea is crazy. Everybody I told about the idea said, Mark, you're crazy. And I started to believe I was crazy until I found this strategy of what I like to call a collaborative marketing strategy, a way to get my message out to more people effectively and powerfully and position myself as the authority. Within 1 year, that business became, that online institute became a multi-million-dollar company and the leader in its industry and niche. And we used this strategy of a virtual summit or collaborative marketing strategy to build that business. And in the process, you know, I was like, these are actually not very easy to do, but they're super effective. We were running, and still to this day, run about 4 to 8 multi-day summits and, 2 to 4 multi-day summits, 4 to 8 one-day summits. And I finally said, you know, I wish there was a run these quicker and easier. Yeah. So I went out and built one. So I kind of exited from that company. I'm still a strategic partner there, but I went over here and started a software company called Virtual Summit Software. And I've spent the last couple of years helping people go from unknown to influencers by getting their message out to the world.
Yeah. There's a lot in there that is very intriguing to me, but the thing I want to know the most is, in your opinion, what's the thing that separates or makes summits stand apart from the mainstream stuff that everybody's doing?
Yeah. So summits have been around for a while. And I'm a geek, right? Obviously I'm a nerd, 2 doctors. You don't get 2 doctorates unless you're a little bit of a nerd. And so I nerd out on a lot of stuff, but I also, I have a podcast as well called the Virtual Summit Podcast. And in the process of that, I actually went back and researched the history of summits. And what's kind of cool, a little insight to that, you know, these started back in 1990 as teleseminars. Like, I mean, most of us like, what teleseminars? Yeah. Back, you would have a phone call. There'd be 2 people. You'd listen into these 2 people. And in 2005, Milana Lashinsky, she was the first person to run a tele summit, which was a 3-day online coaching. Well, it was a 3-day virtual coaching telesummit. And from there, they eventually evolved into now what they are, virtual summits. Power, the reason why they're more effective, I mean, everything works to some degree, but I think we're all kind of seeing right now, you know, webinars are dropping a little bit. Like we're having a much harder getting show up rates on live webinars. Part of that is because they're what we call like a high risk opportunity, like a high risk kind of thing. And that is because most people know, like if I'm getting on a webinar, you're probably trying to sell me on something. We've got live launches or launches in general, like the Jeff Walker style 4-video series, super powerful. I've made millions of dollars doing that style of launch. And actually I've had Jeff at my house and at my mastermind in Puerto Rico. But we've also seen those are kind of dropping a little bit in effectiveness just because of the saturation. But when it comes to summits, what's super cool and super powerful about summits is the creativity that you can put behind it, but also the power that you get by having the collaborative aspect. It's not you kind of going against the world, if you will.
Yeah.
It's you with a group of experts and authorities that probably already have some kind of momentum. They have some name recognition. They have an audience. And by using that together, if you have kind of the right mission or theme or, at least intent behind it, you can really gain a lot of momentum quickly and authority, which is probably, there's a lot of benefits to summits, which we can talk about. But I believe two of the biggest, which are also non-tangible or intangible return on investments, is the level of authority or influence, almost like name brand recognition you immediately get.
Absolutely.
And the relationships you build with speakers. People don't realize how powerful. I mean, Manny, I think our original relationship was built off of a virtual summit. And from there, we've stayed in touch. I follow you on all your social. We reach out to each other. I mean, there's huge power in that.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love what you said about the intangible ROI. I feel like I'm sort of on a mission with that to make people understand that piece. I think that's so important. What I see and what I think a lot of people sort of react to, they like cringe react to. Oh, we got Eric Swanson. What's up, brother? And Diana Brand. Hi, hello. Looks like we got another comment. It's another one from Eric.
What's up, Eric?
Dude, Eric's energy is just unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
Eric, you're an animal. Thank you for that. But so there's the story that I love to tell about if a random fit pro wanted to fill a VIP day with 20 people at $5,000 each. If he even got 3 or 4 people, it would take a massive amount of work. That would be effort for direct ROI. Mm-hmm. Let's say The Rock wanted to do that. It would take one live stream.
Yeah.
And he'd probably have to open up slots for another VIP day. And what people really need to understand is the reason for that is because The Rock has built up so much brand trust, right? Because the Fit Pro could be built just like him and it wouldn't matter. It's not about that. And that's where that indirect ROI thing, that's what I call it, or the intangible ROI piece comes in. A lot of people call this the halo effect. So you're putting yourself on the same plane as these just butt kicking, like superheroes of whatever the topic and industry are. Yeah. And I think that, first of all, you've seen tremendous success with it. Going for or being aware of at least the more long-term play, right? Build up your authority, build up your connections, build up your level of perceived trust and value in the market. Do you find that The Rock just called me and wants to be on your shows? Thank you, Eric. Tell him I'll get back to him. Oh, that was for Mark? I see. Do you find now that because you put so much effort in to I would call it building your personal brand. That's in my lexicon, it's what I'd refer to it as, that sales conversations don't feel like sales conversations anymore. I think that's so powerful for people to understand. And that comes from, you've been watching me, knowing me, getting to see what I'm about for months ahead of time. That to me is that intangible ROI as well. So I love this approach. Let's go to, and I always like to ask people who have created some success online, what do you think is wrong today? If you had to put promotion, marketing, branding, all that into 2 groups, and obviously the big group is doing it the hard way. What do you think is wrong? What's the perception that they either don't have or do have that's stopping the bigger success?
What's wrong today? Not talking about religion or politics, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, I mean, there's, and I don't mean that it's wrong. There's a lot of kind of misconceptions that I think can keep people stuck in a hamster wheel, or what I call the treadmill effect. And I had it when I'm fortunate. I got off the treadmill faster than some. Yeah. And I think I made a lot more mistakes quicker, which helped. Yeah. But by the treadmill effect, I mean, it's where you feel like, I mean, you're working hard, like you're working 8, 10, 12, 16-hour days. You're doing everything, but it never really feels like you're moving forward, right? It's like you're sprinting on a treadmill. Yeah. And I definitely had that originally with my first online business. Yeah. Now, a couple of the things that I think really could be needle movers to help people get off the treadmill and move their brands forward and their businesses forward are, one, you have to have a niche. You have to be an expert or have expertise in something. I call it unique expert positioning. Okay. Sure. Here's the crazy thing. You don't have to necessarily be the best person in the world at it. People need to be able to clearly see you as that's what you do. Yeah. Like when people, I've had multiple businesses, right? So when I was running my other company, people saw me as the person who provides training for health professionals or doctors in the posture space, right? Like people just knew it. When that came up, they thought of me. Now, for the past 4 years, I've been focused 100% on summits. When people think of virtual summits or they think about me, they think virtual summits. Yeah. So you need to have a UEP, okay? Unique expert position. And that's pretty simple. Quit trying to do everything. Right. Pick one thing, double, triple down on it. Now, it doesn't mean you're not doing other stuff, but really push forward the thing that you want to be the expert in, okay? Right? Yeah. So there's that. That's one thing. Another thing I would say is you have to have an audience. Now, I'll give a little, like a little disclaimer with that. Here's the misconception. People think you have to have a huge audience to be successful or a huge list. That's 100% false. Mm-hmm. You do not have to have a big list to be successful or to make money, for example. Right. My first $136,000 launch came from a list of 900 people. Yeah. 900 people. I mean, everybody listening to this right now probably has a list of at least 900 people. Yeah. The importance of it is that they're qualified and engaged. So they have to be qualified and engaged, okay? And then they have to see you as the experts. But with that being said, one of the common mistakes is a lot of us, we have a message that we want the world to hear and an impact that we need to make. Mm-hmm. So we go and we focus on trying to build the thing that's going to deliver the message or make the impact. So maybe let's just say it's an online course or a coaching program or a mastermind. So we spend a lot of time building that out. But at the end of the day, once we finish it, we turn around and we have nobody to sell it or give it to. Right. You have to have an audience. And I mean, Manny, you and I both know this. Sometimes if you spend all your time building something out, you turn around, they may not want what you just built out. It's a lot better to ask them first, right? Yeah. So those are a couple. I mean, we could talk about all kinds of little things, but those are a few of the things that I feel like most commonly people are making mistakes, at least at the beginning, right? And that could make the biggest needle movers if you just focus down on it. The other one I would say is for those that are a little bit further along. I like to say this. I just had my conference. I host a conference called Summit Fest Live down in New Orleans. And I just did a talk which showed a picture of me in my original clinic back when I was when I was working in practice, and it was me sweeping the floor. Mm-hmm. And I say, look, when you start in business, we all have to sweep the floor. You're the janitor, you're the attorney, you're the insurance guy, you're the salesperson, you're the marketer, you wear all the hats. Yeah. That's okay. It's good. And you should do that. But at some point, you need to become the expert. You need to find your zone of genius. Right. And once you get to that point, so after you've started to build the momentum, you have to get to that point and you got to stay in your zone of genius. And once you get there, at this point, you have to learn how to delegate and let other people do some of the other tasks. Yeah. That's the thing I say I believe for the people who've already got momentum going, right. The thing that slows them down from getting to the next level of success quicker is they're still wearing all the hats.
Yeah. So here's what I love about that is everybody who has kind of climbed the hill to that level says that. What I mean by that is not, geez, Mark, say something original. No, quite the opposite. I mean, so we have a lot of fear and noise and static and all these things inside of us, right? As we start. And some of us are just like, we have just enough hubris and just enough, almost like narcissism or something, that we're willing to move forward in spite of that common sense fears. I wonder how much we actually pay attention to the advice being given freely by those who are sort of up the hill a little further than us. I've heard people who have the kind of success that I'm working on and building say this stuff. Now, for me, I was fortunate in that some point in my life, I learned how to not have to keep getting hit first to learn the lesson after getting hit a lot of times to learn the lesson. So I guess this is more for the people listening, guys. I can attest to Mark is absolutely right in those phases. First, it's like you're afraid to niche. First, it's like, you have fear that holds you back from doing the things that you know you should do. Somehow, some of us will claw our way to 5, 10, 12,000 a month, and by the way, that's huge. Mm-hmm. Let's give props to that. So if you're out there and that's your level, don't disregard that because you're looking at other people.
Yeah.
But then you ease into the role of wearing all the hats, right? And for some of us, we grow from there. And then somehow this idea comes along with us that, well, I got myself here all by myself. Obviously, nobody can do it as well as me. And this is why I like the rule that if you can find somebody who can do it 80% as well as you, 80% of the time, delegate it. Give it to that person.
Well, I'll give you a perfect example, especially because I see him on here. Shout out to Jose over there, Jose Vile. There's a lot of positions, a lot of things in your business that somebody else actually probably can do better than you. Not just 80% as good, right. Better than you. Yeah. So when there's a certain point in business where the success, to be able to get successful is not to do it yourself. Right. It is to bring other people who are more talented in areas that you're not as talented on. Yeah. Perfect example of this. We have in our company, Virtual Summit Software, we have a done for you summit service called Viral Summits. Yeah. Now, when it comes, I'm a visionary. I'm a big idea guy. I come up with these, invent new things, create new things, push the needle forward. Yeah. But when it comes to organization, project management, things like that, I am not, hand raised over here. I am not that great at it, but I knew I had a mission that we could change kind of the summit industry. And I had this vision of this service, this Viral Summit done for you concierge, but I knew I needed help. I needed somebody who was talented that could run and manage a team because I knew we were going to have to build a big team. Yeah. And that was oriented to details and organized. Yeah. Enter Jose. I reached out to Jose. He was crushing it already in the summit space. And I said, hey, Jose, I got this idea. It's kind of crazy, but are you crazy enough to jump in with me? And he did. Yeah. And he's our director of viral summits over there at Virtual Summit Software. And because of that, he's crushing that area. He's doing things that I wouldn't be able to get done while I'm over here building even new things and being able to have really cool conversations with people like you, Manny, and kind of keeping that vision going. So It is a big thing in the business to be able to know when, it's okay. I want to repeat, it's okay to sweep the floor at the beginning. You almost have to, right? But at some point, once you get the momentum, keeping that flywheel turning, you gotta know when to kind of stay in your zone of genius.
Yeah. And just as a sort of an abstract note, love the whole process. Arnold Schwarzenegger loved every sit-up. Bruce Lee loved every kick. You know what I mean? It's legitimately something this journey requires everything of you and then some. That's the whole point of it. So I want to dive into the Virtual Summit software. I also want to give a shameless plug for my friend Eric Swanson. He wants to know if you want to do a virtual summit with some of his amazing speakers from his Habitude Warrior conferences. So we can do that on the back end. We can all talk about that. If you guys aren't already friends, I'll intro. But tell me, dude, you built a software for virtual summits, man. Enlighten me.
Yeah.
Regale me.
Again, huge nerd over here. Huge nerd. Yeah. Huge nerd. Yeah. And honestly, I say this about everything in my life. If I knew how difficult something was going to be before I did it, I probably never would have done it. I never would have done half the stuff I've done. Yeah. But at the time, so this was, the Virtual Summit software was created in 2017. So it was this was back in the day when to do a summit, you had to piece together 7 different pieces of software. My first summit had 7 different pieces of software, 26 plugins, took me over 100 hours to build and still looked like a 3rd grader built it. Right. Yeah. And I just remember having the thought, it's so easy to do a webinar. It's so easy to do a course. Like, how come doing a summit is so hard? And I mean, this is back in 2016. I sat on that idea for a year because I'm like, Mark, you're not a software guy. You're not a SaaS guy. You're not a software owner. You know, you're a postural neurologist. And then finally I said, we got to make this happen. And we did. We spent an entire year building it out, and then we opened it, first ever software. And now, like, this is cool. So if, you know, for a lot of people who are just getting started and you're like, I know a summit is going to be right for me, but, you know, maybe like I'm not at the level to have somebody like Mark do a done for me summit yet, but I want to do one. Like, I don't want to wait. We have we have the software. It's super affordable. And it's easier. You need no tech skill, no tech knowledge. I mean, it makes it easier and quicker. Within a couple hours, you're going to have a summit up and ready to rock. So it changed the game essentially. But with that being said, I also understood there's a lot of people out there that like want to run a summit, but at the same time, they're like, I don't even know what a summit is, Mark. And so we started educating and creating resources for people. Again, that's where the podcast came from. The Virtual Summit podcast is where a live conference came from. But one other thing that we kind of built, and like I'd been using this in my business for years, but I hadn't actually thought of it as like maybe a strategy or anything because I wasn't teaching summits back then. I was just running a successful company and I was using it for my own company. Is what I realized once I did start teaching summits is there's a lot of people out there that are like, I do want to do a summit, Mark. The software is great, but still a summit is a lot of work. That's a lot, you know, 50 speakers, 5 days. Like that's a ton of work. I just don't have the time. Right. Well, one of the things we've been doing in our business is the 1 day summit. And we started this like 6 years ago doing 1 day summits, 5 to 10 speakers, super tactical, super specific on one specific topic. Right. And this was a game changer. Like I started teaching this about 1.5, 2 years ago now, and we're seeing them all over the place. And this has been really effective for people because it overcomes the issue most of us are seeing right now, which is attention span. Like raise your hand if you've seen attention span decreasing, you know, in your life or in others, right? So we become ninjas, Manny, at deflecting information. There's so much information being thrown at us, right? And so we're like, ooh, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. But I have this one problem. I'm looking for the solution to this one problem. And if it's not that, I'm deflecting it. So with the 1 day summit, you can be very specific to singular problems. It's very quick. I mean, we're talking 30, 60, maximum 90 days to kind of do one of these because like 5 speakers, man, you knock out 5 interviews in a day, right? Like, so absolutely. That's a 1 day summit. So right there, but the difference is, and this goes back to my original statement of what, like one of the powers that you have to do in online business is because it is so specific. It creates a qualified and engaged audience. These people are hot because you're providing the answer to the problem that they have.
So that's interesting. So let me just drill down on that for a second. Just by the fact that they're sort of raising their hand to participate, that's the pre-qualifier. And it comes down to sort of your ability to niche down what you're teaching in the summit. Dude, that kids at home, pay attention. Go ask mom for the credit. No, just kidding.
Well, remember how we were talking about like what wasn't kind of working right now? We talked about launches kind of going down, course sales, you know, are going a little bit down, webinar show up rates. So the thing with the summit though, what's really cool about a summit is it's what we call high value, low risk. You're not selling them anything on the summit. You're giving a ton of value. These interviews, if done correctly, are a ton of value. And they don't have to pay usually to get that at the beginning, right? It's free to participate. The thing is, but they have to show up to get it. So unlike a webinar, people, you know, opt in for it and then never show up and maybe watch a replay. You're getting people that feel comfortable to come in because they know you're not trying to hammer them with the sales. They show up because they have to get the information. What happens in the process is they create like and trust with you. And they start to look at you as the influencer. It's what we call expert leverage. You're leveraging the expertise and authority and credibility of the other people you're having on your summit. And they automatically look at you like, well, if you've got that, then you must have some type of expertise. So you gain this level of expertise and authority. And here's the cool thing, because the next question, I can already hear some people thinking this, it's, but how do I get the speakers on my summit, right? You're like, if I don't have the authority, how do I get, when you have a summit, you have a platform. Everybody wants to be on people's platforms. We all need to promote ourselves. We all need to talk about our message, and we're looking for other platforms to be on. That's why podcasts are so successful. That's why like TV shows are successful. People are looking for a platform to be on. When you have a summit, you have a platform. Now, it doesn't mean every single person is going to say yes to speak on your summit, but a lot of them will. And by having that, you now have this very valuable resource, or again, what we call a collaborative marketing strategy.
This is very cool, man. My own gears are turning here. So, what I like about this, and what I like about what you said, is that you really understand the importance of taking people, allowing people. So that's the difference. We're not taking people through the know, like, and trust journey. We're allowing them to move through it at their own speed. Mm-hmm. This is something that I found is a huge concept shift that I've had great success with. I focus on just building my personal brand, and you have to do that through content. Content is your proxy in the digital world, right?
Yeah.
And so I put out tons of great content all the time. For those of you that are going, oh God, content creation, this may not be the industry for you if you don't like to create some content. But the point is,
well, Manny, if I can jump in, start to interrupt you here.
Yeah.
Like you just brought up, like, I hate creating content. I'm not going to lie. Like for me, it's like nails on a chalkboard. Like when I sit down to think about like writing a blog, for example, like I will procrastinate like from today until next week. The cool thing is when you have a summit, it's immediate content generation. Right. It's like a year's worth of content created right here. Yeah. Multi-purpose. You've got the videos, which you can take individually and put on YouTube. You can take the audio, put it on a podcast. You can take the audio, transcribe it. Now you got blogs. You take the clips and chop it up. And now you got social media, like social posts. It's like right there. I got so excited about that because I'm like, if I had to create all the content by myself on my own, like like use experts like Manny or other people to give the information to you.
Yeah. This is sort of turning into a master class. I hope you guys are paying attention because that's right where I was going, Mark, and that's perfect. You have to. So the more that we can do that. So if you hate it, learn how to repurpose it, learn how to wring the most mileage out of every piece. But the thing is the more we put out, however we get it there, the more we invite people to just sort of come in at their leisure. And when people come into your world at their leisure, thanks to targeting and retargeting and pixels, they're going to see more of you if they like you. And they can decide on their own to know, like, and trust you. This is about 180-degree perception shift from, say, a funnel, a conventional funnel, right? Where it's like you're trying to force the know, like, and trust. It's like you saw that classic, The Wall, right? Pink Floyd. And the students are going into the meat grinder. That's what a conventional funnel is. What this is like, hey, come on in, have a seat, check it out. If you like it, cool. I don't even have to worry because you'll get shown more. If you don't like it, there's the door. It's no problem. Yep. I love that. This is more and more becoming a foundational element of my own approach. I'm definitely going to be running a summit. Yeah,
I highly recommend everybody start off with a one-day summit. Like usually, people come to me every day and say, "Okay, Mark, I want to do a summit," and I say, "Great, like unless you've got a team to kind of help you out, or you're gonna like have the the viral summit concierge service, have us do one for you. Start with a one-day summit. Yeah, it's quicker, it's easier, it's more forgiving. Like if you spend, let's say you spend 4 or 5 months building out a 50-person summit and like maybe your messaging's off or, like maybe you didn't engage with the speakers appropriately or correctly and they don't end up promoting or, something goes wrong. It's a lot of time and energy to have that not work. Right. Yeah. So start with a one-day summit. And actually I'm really big on what we call the one-day summit series. Like these are quick. These are easy. They can either be under the umbrella of the same kind of theme or topic, or they can be different topics into different niches. But just start with the one-day summit. It's minimum 5 speakers, maximum 15. So anybody can knock out 5 to 10 interviews in a couple weeks, right? You got the virtual summit software, so you need no tech skill whatsoever. You can have that all done within a couple months, or excuse me, within a couple hours. And then you have like your speakers there who are on board with your mission of your summit to help kind of spread the word about it. Now you got an immediate audience, you got some name brand recognition, you got some momentum. And here's the best thing with the courses we're talking about, like we started seeing in a lot of our industries that I work with, course rates starting to drop. Okay. So like as far as like sales, course conversions, we use the one-day summit. We have like 10 different frameworks we use the one-day summit for. The point of it is we use it on the front of anything. Maybe it's a product launch, a membership launch, a mastermind, a live event, a book launch, like an affiliate promotion, whatever. If you put a one-day summit on the front end of that, you bring in an engaged audience that's qualified, you build know, like, and trust, and now they're ready for the next thing. It actually increases the conversions of whatever your next promotion is. So it's like for us, anytime we're creating campaigns in any of my businesses or promotions, once we decide what it is, we go, okay, one step back. What's the one-day summit?
Exactly. Yeah. So 2 things. One is for the listeners, and I'm going to put this in front of probably a couple 100,000 people because that's how I roll. I want to get a link from you that I can pin in the chat for the summit software. We'll handle that after the fact. That's one thing. The other thing is, just tell me about the done for you. I mean, I want to know. I know the process, the idea, the insane work curve, the labor curve to build it. What do we do? What does it do?
Well, I'm super excited about this. This has been another one of those kind of crazy ideas that people have been asking me. A lot of my friends, like I run around with some cool cats like Jeff Walker, Stu McLaren, John Lee Dumas, Lewis Howes, Todd Herman, et cetera. And they're constantly like, for years, they've been like, hey, Mark, I want to do a summit. Will you run it for me? And I'm like, no, I can't run a summit for you. It's a lot of work. It's not an easy task. And so after about a year of people being like, Mark, I want to do a summit, but I just don't have the time or energy to do it by myself. I want you to do it. I said, okay, I need to create this, but obviously I can't be the one to work on every single summit and do all the pieces. Right. So I said, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it like legendary style, kind of like how I do all my stuff. It's like, I want to make this epic. Yeah. And so I actually sought out to find some of the top summit like experts and bring them together into a team, which we called this Viral Summit Concierge. Now, I've been on a mission for the last year to evolve summits. I feel like, there's 2 kind of schools of summits in the virtual summits in the summit industry, and one is kind of on his way down. Like they're doing what we call list grabbers. They're like trying to pick speakers to just scrape the list of the speakers. They're not doing it for any other reason to just try and build a list from their speakers. The speakers feel used, they don't love it, and it's kind of creating this like dirty feeling, right? So we're anti-list grabbers or anti-list scrapers. We focus on how to create something which we call edutainment style. Okay. Sure. The other problem with summits is a lot of times it's just a bunch of educational interviews, right? Right. And as great as that is, we live in a world of Netflix, right? People expect to be entertained as well. Yeah. So we took this idea of how can we create binge-worthy summits that are not just educational, but they're edutainment style summits. Yeah. And they're based on this concept we created called the summit story. So we create a summit story arc. It's essentially like, think of like a Netflix series, if you will. It's like the story from the beginning of the summit to the end of the summit. And we create these exponential engagement factors in the summit, which is how you get that audience that's excited, engaged, and ready to go to the next step with you. Now, we've essentially took that concept and I said, okay, if this is the dream, this is the vision, how can I build that? And we worked backwards. So every summit that we run has our director of viral summits, who I already talked about, overseeing everything, right? Each summit has a summit strategist that's on that summit. That's your contact. Like you can contact them at any time, any day, and they'll hop on, they'll chat with you. They'll work through anything you have. Every summit has a speaker concierge because, again, we talked about one of the biggest intangible return on investments is the relationship you build with the speakers. So we want every speaker walking away from that going, wow, That was a red carpet experience. Anything Manny ever asked me to do in the future, I'm saying yes to. Like, that's what the goal we're looking for. And then we have an entire team of graphic designers, video editors, copywriters, etc., that all work on this summit. So we do everything from start to summit idea and conception, the summit story arc, all the way to creating it, building it, hosting it, and running it for you. The only thing we don't do is the interviews and paid advertisement. You want to do the interviews, right? Because that's the relationship building time. And then paid advertising, those are tricky. So we don't want to put our hands in that. However, the point of it is we run essentially everything inside of this. I mean, I get so excited about this because, like, I know the challenge and the difficulty of running summits. And in that process, I said, here's the things that I don't like about summits. How can we alleviate that and make it like awesome for the people who are going to be running it? And so we put that all together and we create it into the service. And now we've just made it available for people. So we're out there running really awesome summits. And I'll give a couple examples real quick, Manny, of like some game changers. And this goes back to that thing I was saying. We're not focused on being a list grabber. We're not focused on, great if your summit does, we've done summits that have done 26,000, 30,000 leads, which are awesome, right? But our focus isn't to do a 30,000, 50,000, 100,000 person summit. We've done some summits recently, like our lower ones, 750 to 1,000 leads. Okay. Sounds like super small, right? But that summit's done 6 figures from that. Because those 750 to 1,000 people were ready to buy whatever that host put in front of them. Because we're not just talking about the summit. Like, the summit is what we call the relationship building strategy. That's the aspect. The monetization strategy comes after the summit. These attendees are now warm and engaged. We've had other summits that have done 5,000, 10,000 leads. But the most important thing is we're not focused on how big can we build it. We're focused on how can we ensure we have the most qualified and engaged group of people that are ready to buy essentially anything you put in front of them afterwards. And we've seen people doing 6-figure summits because of that.
Fantastic. Man, that's now,
and I'll throw this in there too, Manny. Anybody that's interested in this, if they mention your name, if they mention Manny, because we have a team, right? As you said, my time is, at this point, I'm running multiple things, right? My time is limited, but anybody who mentions your name, I'll make sure that initial discovery call is with me and not one of my team members.
Nice, guys. So, do you in the done for you, do you give guidance or coaching or anything on how to monetize after?
We will help with every single aspect of it. We kind of look at, like, we're an extension. Our team is an extension of your company for this, right? So we will help you, again, come up with like the summit concept, the summit story, but then we'll also help you come up with a summit offer. And we look immediately at the summit. We look at monetizing 3 ways. Now, again, the majority of the monetization is going to come after the summit, what we call the post-summit profit strategy, okay? So after the summit's done, maybe you have a high-ticket coaching program or something like that you're going to sell to them, and that's where you're going to crush it as far as money is concerned. However, we do want to monetize the summit as much as possible as well. So we do 3 ways. We do sponsors, okay? So we get paid sponsors on every one of these summits, and people are like, well, that's pretty.
How do you do that?
Well, we have an entire team who, like, that's what they do. That's what they do. And also, we use some really specific strategies in our summits, again, to make them edutainment, to make them different than anybody is used to seeing, so that people go, I want to be a part of it. Sponsors go, I want my name on that, and how can I be involved in it? A lot of our sponsors afterwards ask, hey, what other summits do you have coming? I'd like to sponsor something else. Okay, so sponsors. The summit offer. So what a lot of people call it, the all access pass, but we don't sell all access pass on our summits. We create like amazing offers that include, for example, an all access pass, but we come up with some really cool strategies to make it like it's something that they want to actually purchase, not just the summit, something new, something refreshing, something that solves a problem. So a lot of the monetization comes from that. And then the third aspect is we will create, or we'll come up with, we'll strategize with you a post-summit offer. So something you're going to offer immediately right after the summit, usually related to the problem that the summit's based around, but something that you can sell. And that depends. Every summit we run, 100% customized to the person. So what's your goal? We have some people that are like, Mark, my goal is not to monetize my summit. It's all about entering this new industry and creating relationships. Yeah. So we have one summit that the post-summit offer is actually a membership so that people stay involved in their company longer. So we created a new membership, or we helped them essentially create a new membership. Other people are like, I've got a live event I'm trying to sell. So we came up with a really cool offer that included a ticket to their live event. So They sold a bunch of live event tickets without even selling the ticket, So everyone's different. But based on what you need or what you want, we crafted around that and we work together. At the end of the day, you're the head honcho, right? Yeah. We're your team. You get to veto or say yes, 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 no, yes, yes to whatever ideas or whatever we're creating. And here's the crazy thing, Manny. Like the investment is like there's some other services out there that do similar things. They charge anywhere from around $30,000 to $50,000 for a summit. Yeah. We are literally a fraction of that price. And we do something that nobody else is willing to offer. And it's because we've been doing this a long time and we're 100% certain in our ability. We offer a guarantee. You will make your investment back on your summit, or we pay you the difference. Nobody else is willing to offer that.
I've never heard of that. Yeah. That's crazy talk.
We just know, like we've been running summits. I mean, I've ran at least 50 of my own summits. I've helped at least a couple hundred of summits as far as being an advisor, a consultant. And of course, with all of our programs, we've been involved with several thousand summits from what we've touched indirectly. Yeah. So we know we can get results.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, that's the only time you can make a guarantee. Well, listen, man, thank you so much for your time today. Guys, I hope this has been a little bit mind-blowing for you. I mean, it's really what I'm going for, and it's really what you just delivered, Mark. That's so awesome. I'm going to be talking to you afterwards about a couple of different things. Let's do the old podcast sign out. Where can people learn more about you?
Absolutely. So probably the two best spots. We have a Facebook group called Viral Summits. So it's a lot of really cool people that have a message that they want to get out to the world. That group, we post a lot of our resources. We do lives in there. So our Facebook group, Viral Summits. And then our website is virtualsummits.com. That's the software, but it's got a resource section. I mean, we've got a lot of really cool stuff. So those are the two places I'd say. And if you just want to follow me, because I'm kind of a crazy kid all over the world. I'm in, New Orleans, Puerto Rico, a little bit at Medellin, Colombia. You can follow my personal journey. It's not a business Instagram, but my personal Instagram over at Hustle and Scale.
Excellent, man. And I've just on the fly, I've hashtagged virtual summits and I put the website in there too. Perfect. Thank you so much. I'll reach out to you in private for a couple of things. And
just remember, mention Manny's name so that
mention my name.
Know this. If you mention Manny's name, you'll get to have that initial consult with me and not one of my team.
That's awesome. All right. Thanks, brother.
Absolutely.